First contact with the impossible. The Krelthan research vessel Luminous Inquiry drifted silently through the asteroid belt of an unremarkable yellow star, its crystalline sensors drinking in data about the system's third planet. Senior observer Ixel's facial tendrils twitched with confusion as she studied the readings for the fourth time. Impossible, she whispered, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with agitation. The atmospheric composition is completely wrong. These readings must be malfunctioning. The planet below them was a brilliant blue jewel wrapped in wispy white clouds, but according to their sensors, its atmosphere contained an absurd amount of oxygen, a highly reactive and dangerous element that should have been bound up in rocks and minerals ages ago. Even more perplexing were the regular geometric patterns visible on the night side. Squares and circles of artificial light forming vast networks across entire continents. Captain Naxil, Ixel called out, her voice carrying across the bridge's resonating chamber. I believe we found something unprecedented. The captain's massive form emerged from the command pod, 12 feet of iridescent scales and cybernetic augmentations. Explain. This planet harbors a civilization, a spacefaring one, judging by the satellites we're detecting. But, sir, they're living in what should be an impossible environment. The oxygen levels alone would cause most known metals to oxidize rapidly. The radiation from their star should be. She trailed off as new data scrolled across her neural interface. Sir, we're detecting similar signs of habitation on multiple bodies in this system, including. Her tendrils went rigid with shock. Including the second planet. Captain Naxil's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on the holographic display. The second planet was a vision of hell itself, a world of crushing atmospheric pressure and temperatures hot enough to melt lead, wrapped in clouds of sulfuric acid. And yet, there were clear signs of industrial activity in its upper atmosphere. Bring us closer, the captain ordered. But maintain our stealth field. I want to understand what we're dealing with before making contact. As the Luminous Inquiry adjusted its course, the crew began detecting more anomalies. There were ships moving between the planets, crude vessels by Krelthan standards, but surprisingly robust. They appeared to be hauling resources from the gas giants and their moons, using technologies that the Krelthan had deemed too inefficient to pursue centuries ago. But it was the fourth planet that truly challenged their understanding. What should have been a dead, frozen world was alive with activity. Massive arrays of orbital mirrors focused sunlight onto its surface, while countless automation units worked to transform its atmosphere. These beings, these humans, as they soon learned from intercepted communications, were literally rebuilding a planet to suit their needs. They're insane, muttered third engineer Vexera, her scales shifting color with distress. The energy requirements alone for such a project. The risk of catastrophic failure. The sheer audacity. No, Captain Naxil interrupted, his voice carrying a note of growing concern. They're dangerous. Any species that can look at a world of acid clouds and crushing pressure and think, yes, we can live there, is not to be underestimated. The captain's words proved prophetic when they detected the weapons platforms. Hidden among the asteroids and scattered throughout the system were thousands of nuclear warheads, kinetic kill vehicles, and other defensive systems that their initial scans had missed. This fledgling civilization had turned their entire solar system into a fortress, using the very hostile environments they had learned to inhabit as part of their defense strategy. Ixel found herself analyzing video feeds of human habitations on various moons and asteroids. They built vast underground cities in lifeless rocks, suspended floating cities in the clouds of Venus, and established research stations in the radiation-blasted magnetic field of the gas giants. Each environment that the Krelthan had classified as uninhabitable, the humans had viewed as simply another engineering challenge to overcome. Send a priority message to the High Council, Captain Naxil ordered, his cybernetic implants glowing with increased activity. Classification, first contact, threat assessment, maximum caution required. These humans, they don't adapt to their environment. They adapt their environment to themselves. And any species capable of that. He paused, watching as a human mining ship casually navigated through a field of radiation that would have killed most known species. Any species capable of that must be approached with either the greatest diplomatic care or not at all. As the message was encoded and transmitted through subspace, Ixal continued her observations. She watched as humans in protective suits worked to repair a solar collection array, seemingly unconcerned by the vacuum of space around them. She saw their ships dumping massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the Martian atmosphere, literally forcing a dead world to warm itself back to life. Fascinating and terrifying, she noted in her research log. They treat environments that would kill most species as simply temporary inconveniences. The real question is, what else do they view as merely inconvenient rather than impossible? The luminous inquiry continued its silent observation, gathering data that would soon change the Krelthan understanding of what was possible and force them to reconsider their definition of habitable space. The humans, blissfully unaware of their audience, continued their impossible work of reshaping worlds to their will. The adaptable species. The Krelthan observation fleet grew to 3 vessels over the following solar rotation, each cloaked and positioned at strategic points throughout the system. Senior observer Ixal found herself promoted to lead researcher of the Human Study Initiative, coordinating data collection from all 3 ships. Your report makes for disturbing reading. Observer, High Commander Zextal's holographic form flickered in the ship's communication chamber. These humans have colonized the magma seas of Io. Correct, High Commander. They've developed what they call skimmer platforms, facilities that hover above the volcanic surface using magnetic field manipulation. They harvest rare elements from the magma flows directly. Ixal's tendrils rippled with excitement as she continued. But that's not the most remarkable part. They've started introducing modified extremophile bacteria into the magma chambers. They're literally seeding life in molten rock. The High Commander's scales shifted to a deep purple of concern. And these underwater habitats you mentioned. The humans have established permanent settlements in their oceanic trenches at pressures that would crush our finest submarines. They're farming specialized organisms for pharmaceutical compounds and mining methane clathrates for fuel. Ixal brought up a holographic display showing the curved dome of an underwater city, illuminated by bioluminescent panels. They've even begun modifying some of their young to better tolerate the pressure. Voluntary evolutionary adaptation. Voluntary evolution. The commander's voice carried a note of horror. They modify their own genetic code. Yes, though not universally. Different human populations are adapting to different environments. Those in the Venusian cloud cities are developing enhanced radiation resistance. The deep space miners are experimenting with photosynthetic skin augmentations to better utilize solar radiation. A new figure appeared in the holographic display, Captain Naxil, patched in from his patrol route near Saturn. High Commander, there's more. We've detected unusual activity in the Kuiper Belt. The humans are establishing what appear to be long-term habitats in the void between stars. Explain, ordered Zextal. They're hollowing out large asteroids and ice bodies, creating rotating habitats inside. Each one is designed to be completely self-sufficient, capable of supporting populations for generations. They're preparing for interstellar travel, High Commander. Not through faster-than-light technology, but through multi-generational ships. Ixal watched the commander's reaction carefully. The humans' methodical expansion was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Most species reach for the stars only after mastering faster-than-light travel. The humans, finding themselves bound by the speed of light, had simply shrugged and decided to adapt themselves and their homes for thousand-year journeys instead. There's something else, High Commander, Ixal added, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with nervous energy. We've detected significant military installations throughout the system, but they're unusual. The humans don't just build weapons, they weaponize their environments. She brought up new footage showing massive solar collectors around Mercury, capable of focusing devastating amounts of energy. Artificial asteroids had been hollowed out and fitted with engines, ready to be used as kinetic weapons. Even the bacteria they were using to terraform Mars could, theoretically, be modified into biological weapons. Every adaptation they make for survival, Captain Naxil observed, can be turned into a weapon if necessary. They don't just survive in hostile environments. They master them, control them, and learn to use them against potential threats. High Commander Zextal was silent for a long moment, his scales shifting through patterns of deep thought. "Continue your observations," he finally ordered. "But maintain absolute stealth. If these humans can turn the most hostile environments in their system into advantages, we must assume they could do the same with any invasion force we might send." After the transmission ended, Ixel returned to her studies. She watched as human ships methodically harvested antimatter from Jupiter's radiation belts, using the deadly particles to power their more advanced vessels. They had turned the very dangers of space into fuel for their expansion. "They don't see barriers," she wrote in her personal log. "Where we see uninhabitable hell, they see untapped resources and room for growth. Where we see insurmountable natural laws, they see engineering challenges to overcome. They are rewriting the rules of what's possible, not through superior technology, but through sheer determination and adaptability." The Krelthan vessels continued their silent watch, documenting humanity's relentless expansion across their solar system. Each new observation brought fresh surprises and growing concern about what this young species might become once they finally reached the stars. The warning signs. Deep within the Luminous Inquiry's secure command center, Captain Naxil reviewed the latest intelligence reports with growing unease. The holoprojector displayed a real-time simulation of human military movements throughout their system, each point of light representing a warship or defense platform. "The War Council is getting impatient." High Commander Zextal's encrypted transmission crackled through the quantum link. "Some are advocating for immediate intervention, while the humans are still confined to their system. They believe waiting will only make future conflict more costly." With respect, High Commander, Naxil's cybernetic eye whirred as he analyzed combat simulations. "Those council members haven't been watching what I've been watching. The humans are conducting military exercises that make no logical sense until you realize they're preparing for something specific." He gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show footage of human ships deliberately flying through the most hazardous regions of their system. They practiced precision maneuvers through Jupiter's intense radiation belts, conducted mock battles in Venus's acid clouds, and ran stealth operations using Saturn's rings as cover. "They know we're here," Ixel added, her tendrils writhing with concern. "They haven't detected us directly, but they've deduced the possibility of alien observation. Look at their communication patterns." The display shifted again, showing a complex web of encrypted transmissions between human military installations. Their communication security had increased dramatically over the past months, and their patrol patterns had subtly shifted to cover previously ignored regions of space, including several areas where Krelthan ships had briefly dropped their cloaking fields for maintenance. "Yesterday, they tested something new," Naxil continued. "A weapon that uses controlled solar flares to generate system-wide electromagnetic pulses. They're developing capabilities specifically designed to counter technologically superior opponents." The footage showed a massive array of satellites around their sun, carefully manipulating magnetic fields to produce targeted plasma ejections. The test had created a wave of energy that would have disabled most advanced ships' electronic systems if they hadn't been hardened against exactly such attacks. "But the most concerning development," Ixel interjected, bringing up new data, "is their adaptation rate. Every time they encounter a problem, they don't just solve it. They incorporate the solution into their basic infrastructure. They're building redundancy upon redundancy, designing their colonies and ships to function even if they lose their most advanced technology." The display showed human habitats that could switch seamlessly between fusion power and primitive combustion engines, Military vessels with backup systems ranging from advanced quantum computers to mechanical calculators, and communication networks that could operate through methods as diverse as quantum entanglement and simple radio waves. They're preparing for every contingency, Naxil observed, not just for natural disasters, but for warfare against an enemy that could strip away their technology. They're making sure that even if we reduced them to their most basic level of technology, they could still survive and fight back. A new alert flashed across the command center screens. The humans had begun constructing massive rail gun platforms in the asteroid belt, positioned to create overlapping fields of fire across all major approach vectors to their system. The weapons were simple in design but devastating in potential, capable of accelerating projectiles to relativistic speeds using basic electromagnetic principles that would work even if more advanced weapons were neutralized. "There's something else," Ixel added, her voice tight with concern. "We've detected increased activity around their quantum physics laboratories. They're getting close to discovering faster-than-light travel, but they're approaching it from a completely different theoretical framework than we did. If they succeed, they would have FTL capabilities that our standard countermeasures might not affect." Naxil finished. "High Commander, I must formally recommend against any military action. The humans aren't just building defenses. They're creating layers of fallback positions, redundant systems, and unconventional weapons. They're preparing to fight the kind of war we've never faced before." The High Commander was silent for a long moment, his scales shifting through patterns of deep thought. "Your concerns are noted, Captain, but not everyone shares your caution. The War Council meets in 3 cycles to make their final decision. I suggest you prepare your most convincing evidence." After the transmission ended, Naxil and Ixel watched another human military exercise, this one practicing the deployment of automated mining platforms that could quickly strip asteroids down to raw materials for manufacturing weapons and ships. The humans were preparing to turn their entire system into a self-replicating war machine if necessary. "They don't just adapt to survive," Ixel noted in her log. "They adapt to win. And they're adapting specifically to counter enemies like us, enemies they haven't even met yet. The real question is, what are they capable of if we force them to find out?" The failed invasion. The Krelthan battle fleet materialized at the edge of the Sol system, their quantum drives humming with power. Against the explicit warnings of Captain Naxil and the observation team, War Commander Yexhal had convinced the Council to authorize a limited show of force, a decision that would prove catastrophic. "All ships, battle formation Delta," Yexhal's orders echoed across the fleet's quantum network. "These humans have never faced a superior technological force. One demonstration of our power should be sufficient to bring them to terms." The luminous inquiry watched from its cloaked position as the battle fleet advanced. Ixel's tendrils trembled as she monitored the human response. "They're not reacting as expected, Captain. Their ships are withdrawing, but methodically. No panic, no chaos. Because they're executing a prepared plan," Naxil realized, his cybernetic eye registering multiple energy spikes throughout the system. Yexhal doesn't understand what he's walking into. The first trap was sprung near the Kuiper belt. Seemingly abandoned human outposts suddenly activated, releasing clouds of engineered microorganisms that attacked the Krelthan ship's hull material, rapidly corroding their outer armor. The humans had literally created life forms designed to eat Krelthan technology. As the fleet adjusted course to avoid the biological weapon, they encountered the second layer of defense. The asteroid belt came alive with rail gunfire. Thousands of kinetic projectiles accelerated to relativistic speeds. The simple weapons bypassed the fleet's energy shields, which were designed to stop plasma and laser fire. "Impossible." Yexhal's transmission carried notes of shock. "Their targeting systems shouldn't be this precise. Our ECM suites." "They're not using targeting computers," Ixel interrupted, analyzing the data. "They're using mechanical analog computers hardened against electronic warfare. And their gunners. They'd been practicing these exact scenarios for months. The battle fleet's formation broke as ships took evasive action. They found themselves herded into prepared killing zones, where human vessels waited in the cover of Venus's acid clouds and Jupiter's radiation belts, environments that nullified many of the Krelthan's technological advantages. Then came the solar flares. Massive arrays around the sun fired in sequence, sending precisely controlled waves of electromagnetic energy washing across the system. Krelthan ships, their systems overwhelmed, found their advanced technology temporarily paralyzed. But it was the final layer of defense that truly demonstrated humanity's preparation. As the Krelthan fleet struggled to recover, they detected massive energy signatures from Mars. The humans had turned their entire terraforming infrastructure into a weapon. The same lasers and magnetic fields they used to heat Mars' atmosphere were repurposed into a planet-wide defense system. Full retreat, Yexel ordered, but it was too late. Human ships emerged from hidden docks in dwarf planets and hollow asteroids, their engines burning with harvested antimatter. They weren't the primitive vessels the Krelthan had observed, but advanced warships that had been kept deliberately hidden. They knew, Naxil realized, watching the battle unfold. They knew someone was watching, so they showed us what they wanted us to see. Every primitive solution they developed was a backup for their real capabilities. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. The Krelthan fleet, caught in layers of overlapping defenses and faced with weapons they had never encountered, was systematically dismantled. War Commander Yexhal's flagship was the last to fall. Surrounded by human vessels that emerged from the very environmental hazards the Krelthan had believed would protect them from counterattack. As escape pods and distress beacons filled the space where the battle fleet had been, a transmission reached the luminous inquiry on all frequencies, broadcast in perfect Krelthan language. To the cloaked observation vessels that have been studying us, we know you're there. We've known for some time. Consider this demonstration a response to your War Council's intentions. We are prepared to negotiate peaceful relations, but any further military action will be met with the full measure of our capabilities, not just the fraction we displayed today. Choose wisely. Ixal and Naxil exchanged glances as the human ships began rescue operations, methodically collecting Krelthan survivors with the same efficiency they had shown in combat. They're even turning their victory into a demonstration, Ixal noted, showing they can be as methodical in mercy as they are in war. Send word to the High Command, Naxil ordered. Tell them we need to fundamentally reassess our understanding of not just the humans, but of what's possible. They haven't just adapted to survive in their system. They've mastered it in ways we never imagined. And they're offering us a choice. Learn from them, or learn to fear them. Respect among the stars. 6 months after the failed invasion, the luminous inquiry docked at humanity's newly constructed diplomatic station in orbit around Jupiter's moon Europa. The station itself was a testament to human ingenuity. Designed to accommodate multiple alien physiologies while drawing power from the intense radiation belts that would have killed most species, you understand why we chose this location. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's chief xenodiplomat, asked Captain Naxil as they walked through the station's transparent aluminum corridors. The massive form of Jupiter filled half the sky behind her, its radiation safely filtered by the station's advanced shielding. A demonstration, Naxil replied, his cybernetic eye tracking the constant flow of particles outside, showing us that you can turn even the most hostile environments into advantages. Though I suspect you're also scanning our biological responses to understand our environmental tolerances. Dr. Chen smiled. Just as you've been studying us all this time. Fair is fair, Captain. Though I must thank you and Senior Observer Ixal, your reports to your High Command helped prevent a full-scale war. Your intelligence gathering is impressive, Ixal noted, her tendrils shifting with curiosity. We were cloaked the entire time. But not undetectable. A new voice joined them. Dr. James Rodriguez, head of Human Defense Systems, emerged from a side corridor. Your ships distorted the solar wind in subtle ways. Once we knew what to look for, tracking your movements became relatively simple. We just had to think about space differently. The diplomatic conference room they entered epitomized humanity's new approach to interstellar relations. One wall was transparent, showing the ice-covered surface of Europa below. Mining installations dotted the moon's surface, extracting resources from its subsurface ocean while simultaneously searching for native life forms. We've prepared a comprehensive technology exchange proposal, Dr. Chen continued, activating a holographic display. Our advances in environmental adaptation and terraforming in exchange for your faster-than-light travel technology. We think both our species could benefit from learning each other's perspectives. Some on our war council still view you as a potential threat, Naxil admitted, studying the proposal. Your ability to weaponize survival technologies, it is concerning. Everything that helps us survive can be used as a weapon, Dr. Rodriguez acknowledged. But the reverse is also true. Everything that could harm us can be turned into a tool for survival. That's how we've always approached hostile environments. We don't see them as obstacles, but as opportunities waiting to be understood. The display showed new human projects, vast orbital habitats being constructed from captured asteroids, deep space research stations powered by artificial quantum singularities, and ships designed to explore the most extreme environments in the galaxy. We're not interested in conquest, Dr. Chen explained. There's too much universe out there to explore, too many challenges to overcome. We'd rather turn potential enemies into partners in discovery. After all, different species see different possibilities in the same environments. Ixel's tendrils rippled with excitement as she reviewed the humans' scientific data. Your approach to adaptive biology alone could revolutionize our understanding of life itself. And these terraforming techniques could help both our species colonize worlds we never thought possible, Dr. Rodriguez finished. Imagine combining your quantum drive technology with our environmental adaptation capabilities. No system would be off-limits. As the diplomatic talks continued, Naxil found himself reassessing his species' place in the galaxy. The Krelthan had always prided themselves on their advanced technology, but humans had shown them that true advancement wasn't just about building better machines. It was about fundamentally changing how you interacted with the universe around you. We accept your proposal, Naxil finally declared, his scales shifting to the formal patterns of diplomatic agreement. With one condition, we want to learn not just your technologies, but your way of thinking. How you look at hostile environments and see opportunities. Dr. Chen's smile broadened. That's exactly what we were hoping you'd say. After all, the universe is vast and largely hostile to life as we know it. But perhaps that's not an obstacle, just another challenge to overcome together. As the formal agreements were drawn up, Ixel added one final entry to her observation log. The humans have taught us something profound. The greatest adaptation isn't to accept limitations, but to see every limitation as an invitation to grow beyond it. They don't just survive in hostile environments. They thrive in them, learn from them, and ultimately transform them. And now they're offering to teach us to do the same. Perhaps this is the true meaning of advancement among the stars. Outside the station's windows, human ships continued their endless work of reshaping their solar system, each impossible achievement paving the way for the next. And now, with the combined knowledge of two species, those achievements would reach far beyond what either humanity or the Krelthan had imagined possible alone.